What's up, guys? I did do a video called Political Systems, so I'm gonna do this video and I'm gonna title it The Rule. Very authoritarian picture there. So now, obviously, government that was elected democratically in a republic is always the best way. And we always think of dictator as a disgusting word. However, the concept of a democratically electing a leader is in fact a very new concept. Before, lands were ruled by kings, pharaohs, emperors, sultans, etc. And that's not as bad as most countries' golden ages are because of being under those autocratic systems of rule. Have we ever heard of the Great Egypt ever again since it became a democracy? Nope. And under a theocracy or a dictatorship, society can move faster and things can get done, thus moving civilization faster. Unlike in a democracy where everything that gets done has to be voted in and negotiated, and this may be fair, however sometimes the opposition just get in the way simply because they are the opposition, instead of what's actually good for the society. Like when Obama tried to introduce free healthcare, then the Republicans, they shut it down and then it got switched to affordable healthcare instead, once again leaving America far behind Canada and Europe in healthcare, and more similar to countries like Pakistan and Nigeria where you have to pay for healthcare. And healthcare is the most important thing a country can have. So it's impossible to impose a radical change in a democracy. The system just moves far too slow. Just look how long the Roman Senate took to spread compared to the Islamic conquest, which moved at a much faster rate. And sometimes societies are just better off with dictators, like in Iraq and in Libya. And obviously, the great achievements by Fidel Castro in Cuba, kicking out the US mafia, and even to Adolf Hitler before the war, putting most of the Germanized population back to work, to even Stalin, who made Russia an agricultural economy in backwater of Europe into an industrial nuclear superpower. So we can't still going around thinking dictator is such a bad word. Obviously, there are many flaws to a theocracy, like no opposition, diversity of thought, big government, total rule, no court of justice, all those bad things, all of which lead to tyranny. However, if government does get empirical under a dictatorship, the people aren't to blame. However, war under a democracy does mean the people of that society are partially to blame. That's the difference. Like, you couldn't blame the atrocities of Nazi Germany on the German people, because they had no say after Hitler won the election but then took people's right to vote. However, some Americans can be blamed for the Iraq war because they voted for Bush. That's the difference. That's what I'm trying to say there. However, sometimes coups need to happen. Sometimes you need to get violent to make a change. For example, in the American Revolution, because sometimes protesting just doesn't work. Try it in Saudi Arabia or North Korea. So sometimes government do have to be taken over by force, as a democratic process of running a campaign, being elected, being recognised, having enough money, because once again, if you don't have the money, you can't fund the campaign, and it doesn't matter how good your ideas, it's all tough luck. Also, having this long process of knowing the elites and working your way up, and by that point you've been brainwashed and manipulated and surrounded by the corrupt politicians that you can't become one yourself. That you become one yourself. Sometimes an overthrow by a complete political outsider is a good thing. Castro never bothered, neither did Mandela. In a democratic sense, neither did Donald Trump as well. Also, Israel took huge theft precautions and annexations of Palestine to make it the only modern country in the region that is today, despite the totally undemocratic way of forcing the Palestinians out of their lands. But you get what I'm saying. Also, in democracies, it makes it extremely hard for anyone with a good vision to take control, so it becomes limited to just the privileged Cambridge and Harvard students and no one else. Which isn't diversity of thought at all, to be honest. If they all come from the same place, therefore less changes and a slower moving society, so sometimes you have to be authoritarian to actually get the machine going and to change history in the textbooks, because the rate of democracy just moves, and the court system and the healthcare, because the democracy system sometimes is just too slow, and the courts move, the healthcare moves. It just feels like everywhere you're just gonna be stuck in the same old bubble of foreign policy, public relations, economic sectors, international wars, rate of technology, forever. So I'm not glamorizing a dictatorship and I'm not bashing democracy. However, there is this current stigma of, ooh, democracy is so great, and oh, dictatorship is so bad. But like in this video, I've just explained why sometimes there are advantages to living under a dictatorship. Just like how there is advantages to living in a democracy. But I feel more of a need to defend dictatorship because that gets bashed more by the public compared to democracy, if you know what I'm saying. So I hope you understand what I was trying to get at there. So, and I apologise for stumbling my wording a bit. I just noticed I did that at the very last minute. Sorry about that, but just in a bit of a rush today. So I guess I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Peace out. And that's Sasha from the Dictator movie. Thought it'd be good to end with that. Alright, bye.